Parkland School shooter Nikolas Cruz avoiding the death penalty after 2 days of deliberations, ending a 3-month-long trial. The jury recommending life without parole after Cruz murdered 17 people at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018. It is the deadliest mass shooting that has ever gone to trial. NewsNation's Brooke Schaefer was at the courthouse with the strong reactions after the decision.
This was not the news a lot of the families of these victims were hoping for. Nikolas Cruz spared the death penalty. Instead, he will get life in prison. A new letter from one of the jurors giving us some new insight into the tense deliberation room. At least one juror in the Parkland School shooting trial defending their decision. In a newly filed letter, one juror wrote to the judge, quote, "The deliberations were very tense, and some jurors became extremely unhappy once I mentioned that I would vote for life." This morning, a jury spared 24-year-old Nikolas Cruz, voting against the death penalty and instead recommending life in prison for the 2018 mass shooting at a Parkland, Florida high school.
I'm disgusted with our legal system. I'm disgusted with those jurors. I'm disgusted with the system.
Families of the 17 victims baffled by the decision. The jury deliberated over 2 days after hearing months of graphic and often emotional testimony.
I'm stunned. I'm devastated. There are 17 victims that did not receive justice today. But I will tell you, the monster is going to go to prison, and in prison, I hope and pray he receives the kind of mercy from prisoners that he showed to my daughter and the 16 others.
Cruz had already pleaded guilty to the mass shooting. For months, the prosecution argued he was cold, calculated, and deserving of the death penalty. But his defense team said the now 24-year-old has developmental issues and argued the confessed shooter's mother drank excessively when she was pregnant.
They were able to convince one or more jurors that his life was a life worth saving. It has to be a unanimous verdict. So all it takes is one holdout against the death penalty.
I was sitting there and my heart was like beating like you can't believe.
Linda Beagle Schulman's son, Scott, was a teacher at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. He died protecting students.
I mean, it's hard to believe. You know, it's really telling people that, look, you can get away with a mass shooting. You can get away killing killing 17 innocent victims, and you can get away with it. And you know what? Just get life in prison without parole.
Nikolas Cruz will be back in court in just a few weeks on November 1st for sentencing. Natasha.
Brooke Schaefer, we appreciate that report, and we are joined now by Manny Oliver, who lost his son Joaquin inside of Parkland High School. Manny, I am thankful you are here. I am sorry for the loss you must still carry, and also for how hard this week must have been. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me in your show. Thank you.
What is your reaction to the sentence? Were you surprised, and is it strong enough?
I was convinced that this person was going to die, that this person was going to receive the death penalty. I was waiting that a state that has the death penalty as an option will apply it in this case. If not in this case, when do you use this tool, right? So a lot of frustration, sadness. I was not there. All my friends and other parents that I've been to, we're friends because of this situation, so it's nothing that we wanted to happen, but this is where we are. We have a relationship, and I was sad with every name that I've heard that day, and I knew that it will be my turn to listen about Joaquin and how that Yuri decided to act. The system failed Joaquin again.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. A report came out after the trial that one of the jurors felt threatened and disrespected by others on the jury. And that specific juror also said ultimately she voted for life without parole because she felt, as you said, the system failed Cruz repeatedly throughout his life. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't think that having mental health issues is an excuse to get away with murder of 17 innocent people. I mean, there's a lot of people with mental illness, not only in this country, but all around the planet. And they just cannot use that as an argument to convince a jury that this person will not deserve dying. Instead of that, he will go to prison, make friends, watch TV. He will see the Super Bowl that my kid used to love, and he won't watch it anymore. He will watch Netflix and movies, and he will learn how to live that way. It's hard for me to learn how to live this way after losing my son.
I absolutely hear you. In that story, we heard from one of the parents that he hopes the shooter receives the kind of mercy in prison that he showed to the victims. What do you hope is in Cruz's future?
Same thing. That was Fred Gutenberg, and Fred is my friend, and I have a lot of appreciation and respect for him. We have done things together. I think we want the same. I hope there is a lot of suffering. I hope there's, after I heard the autopsy of my son and the way he suffered and the painful way that he, without deserving anything, being an innocent guy celebrating Valentine's Day, died. He was shot 4 times, and he suffered while he was dying. Well, I don't think that anything that happens to this shooter in prison is going to be at that level of painful, but I really hope that he suffers. I really hope that it's hell for him. But I'm ready to close the chapter also.
I hear you. You've kept your son's name, Joaquin's name, alive with your activism. With the sentencing now behind you, what is the message that you plan to continue spreading now?
Patricia and me, we always knew that we didn't want this as the result of the verdict, but we knew that whatever happened, we will continue doing what we do. We are Joaquin's parents. We will reach more and more people, trying to prevent this from happening to any family all around the country. That's our goal, and we're not going to finish doing that. You have to also remember that the worst day of our life was not 2 days ago. It was on February 14th when we lost our son. So we need to keep on continuing with the legacy of our amazing son and make things change.
And we are looking at photos of your family and your beautiful boy. Manny Oliver, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.